Welcome to Georgia Extension. My name is LaXavier Greer and I work in Fulton County Extension as a Family Consumer Sciences agent. Today, me and some of my friends are walking you through on how to make kombucha safely at home, with a special focus on sanitizing, checking the pH, fermentation time, and the sugar concentration. If you don't know, kombucha is a fizzy, tangy, and fermented tea enjoyed around the world. Now we'll go over everything that we will need. Follow along with me on the screen and refer to the correct amounts of the ingredients. You'll need loose leaf black tea, a loose leaf green tea, water, granulated sugar, and the SCOBY with the starter liquid. For the SCOBY, the special aspect with the SCOBY is that you want to make sure that it has the starter liquid inside of it. There are many different retailers that sell SCOBYs, and if you do get it from a friend or a trusted family member, make sure that it comes with the liquid. Another key aspect to making kombucha is your test strips. I have several test strips here, but the key is that you want to make sure that the range is at least from 0 to 6 because you're testing for a pH of 4. Well, last but not least, you will need a fermentation container for your kombucha. You want to make sure that it's at least 1.5 gallons. It may be easier for you to find a beverage jar with a spigot, but the only thing to remember with that is that you want to make sure that it can withstand the heat, so glass or food grade plastic. Well, now that you see everything that we need for kombucha, let's get started.
Hi, I'm Cecilia Tran, and I'll be going over the food safety aspects of this. So first, we have to remember, this is bacteria, okay? So think of this as a science lab. We wanna make sure we have a sterile environment. So you wanna start off by washing your hands with warm soapy water for at least 20 seconds. Also make sure to wash all of your equipment, your spoons, your fermentation jar, all of that, okay? Washing is not enough though. You also have to sanitize. Because again, we want to reduce the amount of contamination possible. So to do that, you want to have hot water that's at least 171 degrees Fahrenheit and soak your equipment in there for at least 30 seconds. This is going to help reduce harmful microbes that could interfere with fermentation or create safety concerns. With the help of TV magic, we've already sanitized all of our equipment. So now we'll move on to actually making the kombucha.
Hi everybody, my name is Jamil Hawkins. Now let's make our tea base. We want to heat our 4 cups of water to 160 degrees to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. Once off the heat, we want to add in the tea. You can use either loose leaf or bag tea, but make sure that it steeps for at least 2 minutes. So here I have my black tea and my green tea. A pro tip is to tie your tea bags together and cut off the tags to reduce potential contaminants. And I'm gonna set up a timer so that we know that it steeps for at least 2 minutes. After steeping, we wanna strain or remove our tea bags. Pour our hot tea into our container and stir in 1 cup of sugar and make sure you stir until it's fully dissolved. When we tested the recipe, we looked at different sugar concentrations and found that 1 cup provided the best fermentation results. So make sure to follow the recipe as directed. Make sure you stir until it's fully dissolved. Now we're gonna add our tea mixture and sugar mixture together in our vessel, and then we're gonna add 12 cups of cold water.
Okay, now this is important. You want to make sure that this mixture comes to 95 degrees or less. Any hotter and you're going to kill off all that good bacteria and your fermentation is not going to work. You'll just be drinking some really weird tea, okay? So what does SCOBY even stand for? It's symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. Pro tip, If you can't get this down fast enough and you don't want to wait around because you have things to do, you can freeze about 2 cups of your water and pour it in there just to make sure that it cools down in a timely manner. So before adding the SCOBY, you want to measure the pH. Using your pH strips, follow your manufacturer's instructions and go from there. If the pH is 4.0 or lower, you're good to go. If it's above 4.0, that means it's not acidic enough and you need to discard the starter liquid and use a fresh one. A low pH at the start helps prevent the growth of unwanted bacteria or mold. Make sure to discard the liquid that you measured the pH in. Do not use this to make your kombucha. The size of the SCOBY you'll get will vary. What's important is that you have at least 1 cup of starter liquid. And again, it needs to measure at a pH of 4.0 or lower.
Once your tea is below 95 degrees and your starter pH is safe, we want to gently place our SCOBY into our tea mixture. And then we're also going to add in 1 cup of our starter liquid into our tea. Now we want to make sure that we're slowly stirring for 10 seconds. This is the top that the container came with. We want to make sure that we're not using a top that cuts off the circulation of our kombucha tea. We need to make sure that we have something that allows for airflow so that our mixture ferments correctly. So we're going to be using either a cheesecloth or a coffee filter or a paper towel, and we're going to put a rubber band on top. Next, we're gonna have our kombucha label and make sure that it has our date on it. Today is our day 0.
Now the next step is you want to let your kombucha ferment at room temperature, ideally between 68 and 77 degrees Fahrenheit for 7 to 10 days. It's important that you do not disturb your kombucha during this time. Also, do not store your kombucha in any direct sunlight, extreme heat, or under an air vent. The fermentation time affects both the flavor and the acidity, so make sure that you do not ferment your kombucha any longer than 10 days. If you do this, you run the risk of making it too acidic or producing alcohol.
Once fermentation is done, pour your kombucha into clean, sanitized bottles or jars. Be sure to burp your bottles every few days. Pressure can build up due to fermentation. This is an explosion of flavor you don't want in your fridge.
So after 10 days, refrigerate your kombucha and drink it within 30 days. If you want to add stuff like fruits, herbs, or spices for flavoring, add it after fermentation is complete. And then you want to refrigerate it right away and consume it within 2 days.
Just a few more final tips to ensure that your kombucha is safe. You always want to start with a clean, sanitized setup. You never want to use any starter liquid that has a pH over 4.0. Always check your tea temperature before adding your SCOBY. Make sure you watch for any signs of mold that can maybe look like fuzzy growth or unusual colors. Please toss it if you have any mold. Also, keep your fermentation containers loosely covered to allow airflow as shown and protect it from any contaminant. You will also want to make sure that you don't consume more than 4 ounces of kombucha a day to prevent stomach perforation. For more food preservation resources, please visit the National Center for Home and Food Preservation.
So that's it.
Safe kombucha you can make at home.
Happy brewing!